This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. The gang is back together. Whitlock's back. Cowherd's here. Oh boy, a lot of fun on what I'm being told is Taco Tuesday. Let's get to it. Colin tells you why not Westbrook, not Harden, but this guy on the Cleveland Cavaliers, he grew up in Akron, he is the most valuable player in the NBA. Whitlock calls out Shaq. All right, Whitlock, for being the worst guy on Inside the NBA and stepping out of bounds in his beef with JaVale McGee. Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard talks about the Lakers, and I'm telling you, me and Broussard, we're on the same wavelength here. Magic Johnson is gonna get it done. Whitlock, very, very anti-Magic here, even though he likes Magic. I don't know, I just think it's a slam dunk. Lakers can go nowhere but up. Hall of Famer Chris Carter stops by to tell a nice story about Tiger Woods and Earl Woods in relation to Lavar and Lonzo Ball. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
Welcome to the show. Colin thinks the Steelers made a huge mistake giving Antonio Brown all that money.
And Whitlock thinks Shaq is the JaVale McGee of broadcasters. Speak For Yourself starts now.
I do. I will explain that. I like Shaq, but I'm about to take him to the woodshed. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined now by Hall of Famer Chris Carter and Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Let's start in the NBA, where names like Russell Westbrook and James Harden have been thrown around for MVP this year, but one big name has largely been missing, LeBron James. Here's LeBron on where he falls in the MVP race.
I don't know. Just look at my winning percentage. Look at my winning percentage when I'm on the floor and when I'm not on the floor. I think that's what it's all about. This league is all about just winning. I don't know. I mean, there's so many great guys, so many MVP candidates this year, guys having great seasons. So we'll see.
Colin, that sounds like LeBron just cast a vote for LeBron for MVP. You agree with him?
I do, because what's valuable mean? I mean, what does valuable mean? LeBron's not valuable to a team. He's valuable to a conference. It's not Nick Saban's not just dominating the SEC. He's changed the sport. And he's made an SEC network. It didn't exist before him. It got so dominant, a company said, we're going to create an SEC network. LeBron is the conference. I mean, when you look at graphs, LeBron, with or without LeBron in Cleveland, with LeBron, the Cavaliers' record is empirical. It's best in the league. We have a graph. Without him, they're one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Well, hold on. That's going back 3 years.
Yeah.
The MVP award is this year.
That's right. But my point on a bigger level. My point on
He's the best player in the league.
And he's
no question.
By far the most valuable asset the league has.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
This particular year, and LeBron has a case every year, and he's got a great case this year, but he's playing in the Eastern Conference. Russell Westbrook, James Harden playing in the West. It's a lot more competitive, so I just don't want to hear about, hey, look at our record, blah, blah, blah. What Westbrook and Harden are doing justify them being in the MVP race and maybe winning the MVP. There's no great crime here being done if LeBron doesn't win the MVP this season. And yes, he's had a remarkable season, but Westbrook is doing something, in my view, and again, I've gone back and forth.
Are we punishing LeBron? Is there LeBron fatigue by the media?
I don't think so. I mean, Michael Jordan, again, it's precedent. You know, LeBron is the best player in the world, and he's been the best player in the world for maybe 10 years now. Michael Jordan was the best player in the world for 10 years straight. He didn't get the MVP award every time. That's not how it goes. And even by LeBron's own statement, I'll look at your record this year. Golden State's is better, and so is San Antonio's. And Houston, with only one All-Star, is really close to your record. Okay, he's got the second most talented team in the league. I would say they're underachieving.
They have.
And it's not based on what you're going to do in the finals, because we know he's going to play great in the finals. He'll prove again he's the best player in the world. You know, it's not based on what you've done in the past. It's based on this regular season. And Harden and Westbrook, I would say their teams are maxing out. They're playing as high a level as they can because of those two guys. That's why I have them ahead of LeBron in my race.
You make a good point, and you made a point yesterday about as far as Cleveland as a team, they're underachieving. We know what they do without LeBron. But coming into the season, it wasn't a goal for LeBron to be MVP. And when you watch him, he's doing unbelievable things. I mean, I think that the part that's really special is he's fourth in the NBA in assists.
Yep.
I think that goes underrated because if you have to watch LeBron play and watch how much better he makes everyone on the court. I mean, they are a totally different team than they were 2 months ago. And a lot of that is about him. Now, he should be in the running, but just like LeBron said, it should be based on percentage. Then also KD. KD's having an outstanding year. You know, KD should be in there. So Isaiah Thomas. So those should probably be the top 5 players. Westbrook, we know Harden, KD, LeBron, and Isaiah.
Fatigue isn't it's the right word, but it's not the perfect word for what's going on with LeBron. And LeBron has said this previously, years ago, that sometimes I've been so great you take me for granted.
Well, we do this a lot in society. Phil Jackson has no more Coach of the Year awards than Sam Mitchell. Our society does that.
True.
Yes.
We punish great.
We do.
We always
Belichick doesn't get win
Yes.
Coach of the
No,
Year.
absolutely.
I would argue this, though. If the Cavaliers were on pace to win 67, 68 games, then LeBron would be higher in this race. Because he's having a phenomenal year, especially lately. Now, he wasn't playing as great early in the season, and in February, he's been lights out. But it's a full season award. So I don't know if it's so much LeBron fatigue as it is that team is just simply underachieving.
Hi, welcome back. Chris Broussard back with us, joined by the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's start here in Los Angeles with the Lakers hiring of Magic Johnson as president of basketball ops. Just got a major endorsement from Heat GM Pat Riley, NBA legend. Magic's old coach thinks he was a great hire, saying, quote, he'll get the job done out there. All right, Jace, you agree with Riley?
No, I don't. And again, Magic's my favorite athlete of all time. Magic has done a great job leveraging his brand of being a big, lovable guy that smiles and makes everybody feel comfortable, and he's turned that into $500 million. More power to him. Comes out, first thing he does is hires Kobe's puppet, Rob Pelinka. That's what Rob Pelinka is. He's Kobe's puppet. If you go look at their agency, his agency, Kobe funneling players, the whole 9 yards. Rob Pelinka, horrible reputation with other agents. Horrible reputation.
All agents have that reputation.
Not
agents. They all hate each other.
His is more universally feel. When they come together as agents to try to do things, they don't even include Rob Pelinka. I think that they're going to pay a price for that when it comes to deal. Agents are going to line up. They're not going to be supportive of Rob Pelinka. This is a bad move.
It's interesting. What I took from it was my skepticism of Magic is the same I had with John Lynch, hired with the 49ers. I saw John the night he got hired. It was a Super Bowl. And I just told him, I said, who are you hiring? I think John Lynch is a little over his skis. I think Magic's a little over his skis. And I've seen so many failures. Matt Millen, just Phil Jackson right now. What I really noticed, though, Magic is globally loved. People like Magic, right? Everybody likes him. And that how many of his friends stepped up. Kobe said nice stuff. Pat Riley said nice stuff. Michael Wilbon, one of his tight friends, he stepped up to defend him. What I am seeing, and this may be Magic's great strength, is that last night he was speaking in Los Angeles. He aligns people. He creates sort of a force in one direction.
Best case scenario.
And he has created shrewdly
case scenario.
This is going to work. Magic was necessary.
Confidence.
Magic's going to...
Show me the great leader who spends all their time needing to be loved. And again, I love Magic Johnson. He loves being loved.
Yeah.
But
that's not a job
to be loved.
Hell yes, it's part of his DNA.
Everybody likes
his
being
personality.
loved.
Do you know why you can't find one controversial statement damn near from Magic Johnson other than about Donald Sterling? Because Magic doesn't want to be disliked. He doesn't want heat on him.
Levitar ripped him.
I get that, but
He
I'm
didn't
talking
like it, though.
Find Magic.
He didn't like it.
Find somewhere where Magic has taken a stand on anything that's put him in the front of controversy. Donald Sterling had to draw him out by talking about Magic. Magic ain't out taking bold stances.
But how is taking bold stances going to make him a better GM?
What's that got to do with being president?
Because being president isn't about being liked all the time. It's not about being loved all the time. Some of the decisions you're going to make unpopular. And again, what I'm looking for is a guy that would be like, man, I'm not bringing Kobe's puppet in here because that'll make Kobe happy. Loves being loved.
Look, so far, so good. Lou Williams traded him. Your best player, you traded him away to make sure you keep losing while you play your young guys and keep that top 3 pick.
But do we know that's the best he could have gotten for him? Do we know
He
that?
has several offers. I mean, he has several offers. Okay, hiring Rob Pelinka. We don't. He's an agent.
Oh.
We don't. He also had James Harden, Andre Iguodala, Eric Gordon.
Fisher, yeah,
I mean, that's not. I don't think he's Kobe's
Egomaniac. I've known Rob Pelinka since he was in college. Egomaniac.
Look, a lot of
five,
people
right?
at this level are egomaniacs.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know that he's going to be
So's
great.
Phil Jackson. You
I don't
see
know
how
that
that's
he's going to
working
be
out.
great.
Wait, he's a
I'm
much
just saying
nicer
he's
guy than Phil Jackson.
I'm
He
just
plays
saying,
a lot better with the
Wait,
players.
how do you know
Magic
that?
Johnson.
Talk
Players
about
love him.
Pelinka.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Magic versus Phil Jackson. Magic
look
plays
so
nice
far.
with the players. And look at this. He's a businessman, guys. A shrewd businessman. He just invested in a low asset. The Lakers right now are as bad as they've ever been. They can only go up. Paul George, you can write that in pen. They're getting him. They got a 19-year-old in Brandon Ingram. They got a young 20-year-old in Russell. This is a franchise on the up. Magic will succeed with this.
You
This is a
mentioned
venture
Paul
where he's gonna
George.
win.
That right there is already success.
It's a dub. It's
When did you hear any free agents, including Paul George, talking about going to the Lakers? I'm hell-bent on going to the Lakers.
So we're
you never heard
judging
that
Magic
Magic.
on talk
Lonzo
right now.
Ball comes out
No,
and says he wants to play with the Lakers.
I would say this. I'm skeptical of it. But I do believe entry point in all jobs matters. I mean, it really does. Nobody should follow Howard Stern. Good luck following Johnny Carson or Letterman.
Peyton Manning, yeah.
Okay. I would say this, that Mitch Kupchak had some weaknesses. He was a wooden personality, didn't connect with big agents.
Won 5 championships.
Okay, but the strength of Kupchak is probably Magic's weakness. The details. Mitch did a great job to find talent late in the first and the second. Probably not going to be Magic's
Well,
great
they got
strength.
lucky with Gasol.
Yeah. There's a lot
What
of
I'm saying
things
is
that would question.
Kupchak laid the groundwork with a lot of hustle to get a second-round center they like.
The
Jordan
feeling
Clarkson,
around
Larry
the
Nance.
league was the Lakers had fallen behind the times. And that's what, even
Well,
in
in
their
free
meetings with
agency.
free agents.
Yes.
It was
that's,
like
Byron Scott
so
as
my
their head
point
coach
is,
and
Magic's taking over a franchise that's in the crapper, that's got some young players. The key with Magic is, can he get a star? Magic relates to
If he gets
stars.
Paul George, that's a star.
Magic loves to be loved, and when things don't go right, Magic will point the finger at others and won't take accountability, responsibility.
You sure you like Magic
I
Johnson?
love it. As an athlete, I'm evaluating him as leading to my
But
franchise.
already it's
No
been
dice.
good.
All right, to the Twitter war between Shaq and JaVale McGee, which appears to finally be over after Shaq's mom convinced her son to put an end to the beef. The whole feud started after McGee complained about Shaq's frequent mocking of him on Inside the NBA, and now that it's pretty over. Everybody agrees the whole thing made both guys, not look great. Whitlock, I don't know. Who looks?
This ain't even close.
Oh, really?
This ain't even
I gotta
close.
hear this.
Who looks worse?
Shaq looks worse. Listen, and I like Shaq. I chose Shaq over Kobe when they had their dispute. I like Shaq. But Shaq is the JaVale McGee of the Inside the NBA TNT show. He joined the Golden State Warriors. He is the JaVale McGee. He joined a championship, the best broadcasting team in
Why isn't
sports.
he the Kevin Durant?
Because that's not his level of play and work.
He's
He
not
is-
on the same level as Kenny and those.
Hell no.
Is Barkley giving great
Charles
analysis?
Barkley. He's an entertainer, and he's the reason you
And
watch
that's
the
what
show.
Shaq is.
No, Shaq is a clown. Look, he loves to do Shaq to the fool.
He's more
This
of a
is
clown
what
than Barkley?
Shaq is known for. Let's roll the clips of what Shaq is known for. Shaq is a fool. Here's Shaq getting tossed into a Christmas tree. This is what he's known. This is his broadcasting contribution. Getting tossed into a Christmas tree. Here's Shaq with his pants falling down on set while performing a little rap song.
Now look at Kenny Smith.
I
He's
understand.
looking
I
like
understand.
LL Cool J.
This is
He's not clowning
Shaq
either.
is a fool.
Shaq is funny, though.
Here's Shaq.
Funny is
Shaq
good for
funny.
TV.
Shaq is
Funny is good for TV.
I would say Shaq is a poor man's Barkley. He's not as good as
Woo!
Barkley.
A
He's
homeless
poor
man's Barkley. Let me explain you the difference.
Shaq
Then I'm gonna let
isn't
you go.
funny. Shaq isn't
let me
funny.
let me tell you the difference. Then I'm gonna let you go. Barkley shoots up. Shaq shoots down. That's the biggest. Barkley goes after Kobe. He goes after LeBron. He goes after Michael. Shaq shoots down. He's a bully. That's the biggest difference. And Barkley, almost every joke is
Who
on.
is Shaq bully besides JaVale McGee? Who is Shaq bully?
Damn,
Shaq is a gentle giant. But go ahead with your bully theory.
He's not bullying this McGee guy.
But
besides him,
the whole
okay,
Shaq and the Fool thing is about making fun of
But
people.
that's the thing. Are we just blaming Shaq for Shaq a fool? Because you're right. That's a segment. You're not gonna get LeBron and Kobe and Kevin Durant on Shaq a fool. They don't make those types of plays.
You know what that
Something that
Shaq
works
fool
for
reminds
Shaq.
me of? It reminds me of the most popular thing we had at this other place. Called Come On Man.
Yes.
And now, if you do something, guys would say, man, I don't want to be on there. So I'm not trying to make a fool of you. What your behavior or something during the game or something got you on the show.
By the way,
and that was kind of the crux behind
McGee
it.
did those things. It's not like Shaq photoshopped.
That video you shot of Shaq, that was funny. But JaVale McGee has done funnier stuff on the job.
While trying to be serious.
Okay,
That's
so
the difference.
Shaq's brand is legendary basketball player and entertainer. That's his brand, okay?
Yep.
What do you think is fair or not? JaVale McGee's brand 5 years ago was clown, buddies with Nick Young, buddies with Gilbert Arenas. JaVale McGee has been half player, half cartoon
Shaq
character.
is endorsing over 40 products.
Great.
I'm just telling you, he's endorsed.
That is
so
great.
there's a lot of people buying into his foolishness.
That's what Shaq, but he
is a broadcaster.
No, don't try to make him Bob Costas. He's not. They don't have him on there
because
to be Bob
Barkley's not.
Costas.
Barkley.
I don't want him to be that way.
He is not as good as Barkley and Kenny Smith.
those guys
and that thing was off and rolling, and Shaq came on, and he wasn't any good at first, and people ripped him. He got a little bit better. They built a little stick of him making fun of people, and now it's great. But he's not on the same level as Kenny and Charles and Ernie.
Even if you're right, even if you're right, JaVale McGee has made a fool of himself in his career.
Listen, listen, Chris.
No one helped him.
Chris, you're 100% right. But we all know the guy in the locker room who can't take it. And the guy's been waving the white flag saying, hey, man, come on, man, I'm not that guy.
He's a pro athlete.
He
can't take someone making fun of
everybody
him.
in pro athletes,
Once he
they
spoke
can't
out,
handle it.
I'll give you this. Obviously, Shaq went too far with calling him a bum and the Twitter picture of him as a bum.
Thank you.
Maybe Shaq, look, it did get, he
Personal
kept
and out of
doing it
hand.
to JaVale, but JaVale kept making those mistakes.
Listen, Chris, all I'm saying is you have to understand your position as an NBA legend, as the big 7-foot guy. Sometimes Shaq doesn't understand his own strength. He's too strong. He's playing too rough with someone who can't handle it. And don't act like there aren't guys in the locker room who can't handle it. You smell it out, and you're like, either I'm gonna be a bully or I'm just gonna leave this dude alone because he ain't man enough for the way we play.
I'll give you that. I think that's a fair point. I'm just saying, to say he's the JaVale McGee, though, of that show,
That's a great show, and he's not as strong as the other guys on that show.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
By the way,
but he's not
for the
pretty
record,
good.
I thought that was very funny when his bear costume came down.
Yes.
That was an all-star
He's
move.
What about
funny.
when he got
It's
caught up in the
funny.
teleprompter and got all tangled
I
up?
get Shaq
And he
is funny.
stumbled and fell.
That's funny.
I get the Shaq is funny.
Your hat is funny.
See, I can take it. You can come on here and beat me up.
Your hat is
I
funny.
can take it.
It's squeezing
I'm not
your
JaVale
brain.
McGee.
He's the JaVale McGee of the set now.
Yeah, definitely. You're the worst one to call me and my homie. You definitely.
All right, welcome back. Here we go. Chris Carter's back. Now Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Let's move to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers just gave Antonio Brown a massive 4-year, $68 million extension. I can get an entire O-line for that. Despite Brown raising some eyebrows with that selfish locker room Facebook Live incident during the playoffs, here's Brown and his new deal.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. The Steelers put so much value in me. Show their trust and value in me in regards to this point today. And I'm just excited and grateful I play for a good organization.
All right, Whitlock. Giants had a good receiving core. So did the Texans. Washington Raiders didn't do much. New England pays $19 million for their receiving core and won a Super Bowl. You think he's worth $18 million a year?
Yeah, for the Steelers and Big Ben, yes. I love all the icing he spread over his jacket. But, yeah, no, I think as it relates to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the kind of offense they want to run, where Big Ben is at in his career, you got to pay Antonio Brown.
it all comes down to what's valuable to you. I was joking today. My favorite thing about boats is having a friend who has one. So 2 times a year, I can go on his boat. Some people like watches. I use my phone. It depends on, and I always tell my kids, I spend my money on 2 things, education and experiences. Because when I'm gone, those will last. You'll remember the ski trip and you'll have the education. Same with football. You know, I'm going to pay close to the ball, and as I get further and further out, I'm very cautious with my money. I'm going to pay a lot for a center, quarterback, left tackle.
We know. Let the icing get in here. We know where you're at on this.
For me, this is, again, I'm a receiver. Chris, you're a receiver. So.
Hey, actually, we're broadcasters now. We're not receivers.
You're right. You're right. I was. So I was icing in your, as you explained it.
Don't I have a right to question some receivers?
Absolutely. You have any right that you feel like you can express. That's fine. But when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and you look at what Antonio Brown brings to that offense and that special team unit, he affords you an opportunity to make that big play, to hit the home run anytime he's on the field. You can't devalue that because of a couple instances of detours that we see in his character or a couple scars that we now deem to be, he's not worth it because of this.
Okay,
but
I'll take those out. But Julio Jones is that without those, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, twice last year he didn't play. Atlanta scored 42. They took a 28-3 lead in the Patriots on those running backs. I think sometimes star receivers are so intimidating that a quarterback feels beholden to a star wide receiver.
I don't think so.
No.
I think you're totally wrong in that. There's only one team. If you look at the top 10 offenses in the NFL this past season, there was only one New England who didn't have a great or a number 1 receiver. Just look at it. So you're doing everything based on the New England philosophy. The other 31 teams aren't doing it that way. So, yes, anyone can make a model from New England, but they have Belichick, they have Brady, they have a system in place, and they're the only one who gets away from it, gets away with it. The rest of them, you must have a wide receiver. You must have a guy who can draw a double team. If not, Minnesota Vikings, they put 8 guys in the box, stop you from running the ball. It's hard to function. If you look at the greatest offenses that the NFL's ever had, the top 10 of them, look at the wide receivers that played on that team. That doesn't mean you can't win a championship, because a championship, it's a playoff system. It's not a series. Like, if it was a series like the NBA, everyone would feel like, man, we must have a wide receiver. We must have a Julio Jones. But it's not. It's a playoff. It's 1-game elimination. So it's to the detriment, because a wide receiver can be taken out of the game because of cover 2 and the way they can rush the quarterback.
So, but the problem being is in the league we have now, it's a salary cap league. In baseball, pay your receivers what you want, but I am forced to, as a team now, make serious financial decisions. And that means...
But you're making decisions on guys who will never be good enough. There's not enough good guards and tackles to pay that kind of money.
I want to help Chris's argument in this regard, too, because, again, you have to make it to the playoffs in order to win the Super Bowl. And so where I think you may be underestimating these receivers, and particularly Antonio Brown, what Greg was talking about, changing field position is critical in a division like the AFC North, where it's brutal, it's physical, it's defensive. And if you don't have a guy, sometimes it doesn't lead to a touchdown. It just puts you in position to punt someone deep that creates the touchdown and the points coming off of that. Antonio Brown is one of the few guys, anywhere he touches the ball on the field, he can change field position. And that has a lot of value over the regular season, helps you get into the tournament so you have a chance to win.
he adds, he also creates this element that a lot of people miss. Off the field, when you're preparing for the Pittsburgh Steelers,
yes.
Who are you spending time trying to stop? Antonio Brown. You're not, if Antonio Brown is removed from that team, it's a completely different team.
And look at the way the salary cap is. Quarterbacks are being paid the most. Defensive ends are being paid the most. Linebackers are being paid a lot. Left tackles are being paid a lot. And then wide receivers. You act like wide receivers are making $30 million. The salary cap's $160 million. They're getting their adequate proportion of that salary cap. It's not like it's disproportionate.
Last thing, we got to go.
I talked to Odell Beckham, too. He saw the numbers. He was happy about the icing, too.
Steelers have some protection. They can get out of this deal if things go sideways with Antonio Brown. All right, welcome back. We're joined again by Chris Broussard and Chris Carter. Let's move to college basketball, where the UCLA star Lonzo Ball's father just keeps on talking after taking heat for saying his son wants to play for the Lakers and that he's already better than Steph Curry. Lavar Ball isn't backing down.
I'm gonna say whatever I want to say, and I've been like this all my life. I said I'm not looking for no endorsement deal. I'm looking for a marketing and distribution deal, co-branding. The only person doing that is Jordan with Nike. That's what we for. Like I said, if Lonzo doesn't sign with Adidas, Nike, or Under Armour, whoever, guess what? I'll sign the Big Baller brand. We already got our own brand.
Right.
Triple B's. Lonzo will be the first one drafted with his own brand. That don't happen.
All right, Colin, Lavar Ball has some huge aspirations. You think his approach will work?
Well, it really depends on the kid. You know, we were critical of Serena's, Venus's dad, and then the daughters were great, and dad didn't matter much. And we were critical of Tiger's dad a little bit. Oh, he's over-parenting. Well, Tiger was great. You know, you found with Elway's dad and Tiger's dad and Serena and Venus's dad, if the kid's great, the dad becomes really irrelevant really fast. And I will tell you this, is that I can't be objective as a parent. The optics on this are not good. But we live in a world now where dads have been saying this stuff about their sons and daughters forever, but now they're on TMZ and talk radio. When you and I got in this business, there wasn't even talk radio. And so I don't love what his dad's doing. But I'll tell you is a lot of dads and parents lose their mind over their kids, and it really is on the kids.
This sounds different to me, though, than Serena Williams' dad or Tiger Woods' dad or anybody's dad previously, because he's talking about a business. He's talking about taking on the business establishment, not just the sports establishment. When he's talking about maybe starting his own brand in terms of a shoe company or trying to go straight the Jordan route, big ballers.
Why does that bother you?
I can't say it bothers me.
That,
it's
right?
different. I actually kind of like it,
Yeah.
but it's different. But the pushback is going to be even stronger. When you start talking about disrupting shoe companies and the way they do business and planting those seeds in other kids and other parents' minds, I can see the shoe companies coming after them. He's trying to be a disruptor. I hope that it works. I admire the ambition, but he's picking a big fight.
The problem is that he's way ahead of himself. I mean, let's see how Lonzo Ball plays. Because if he doesn't play well in the NBA, I think he will, but nobody's going to care about Big Baller. All right? So don't start talking about your own brand just yet. Michael Jordan, he mentioned him, built the biggest brand there is.
Yes.
How? By being a great NBA player. And then the rest came. LeBron had proven himself. Nike went to him, and now LeBron has partnerships with these different companies. Get it done on the floor. And what I don't like is that this is putting added pressure on your kids, not you. LeVar Ball is not the one that has to go out there and outplay Steph Curry. He's not the one that has to go out there and be the next great point guard in the NBA. It's his son.
Something very big into existence.
Well, I mean, there are some principles that does work.
Yep.
But talking to two of the parents you mentioned before, I have had several conversations with Richard Williams about the Williamses. I'm a huge tennis fan. I've gone to tennis tournaments all around the world. I've had a bunch of conversations about him, how he developed the kids. What was important for him was their skill. He was just trying to not let them fit into the junior circuit as far as them playing a lot of tournaments. It wasn't the branding. He knew all that was going to come, but for him, it was about them being the best and dominant. Earl Woods had plenty of opportunity to speak with Earl Woods, went to the Masters with Tiger, had dinner with Earl Woods, walked the golf course with the whole family several times. So Earl Woods' thing was about don't be distracted. All this business is going to come, but you have to dominate. He wouldn't let Tiger touch any of the money that he had. Only money that Tiger Woods could spend was the money he made in tournaments. So he said, I'm going to always keep you hungry and chasing after the prize of greatness. So greatness is the key. And that's up to the young, that's up to the young athlete, Serena, Venus, and then Tiger Woods. And these parents, they did do things very different, and they did push against the establishment. But these are only two of millions of parents who failed. Now, I don't mind Ball because, like he said, he's being himself. Okay, no problem. You're the one going to have to live with it.
So tell me this, though, Chris. You had an athletic son who played your sport. This guy played basketball, had a cup of coffee in the NFL, thinks he knows some things. How did you handle it? You know the NFL inside and out. How did you handle your son's deal in terms of not putting your ambitions or all the knowledge you had and trying to impact your son's career?
Well, for one, I have a healthy respect for professional sports. And I realize these are grown men who've been paid a lot of money for a long time. And they have a lot of things that they're not going to let a young player take away from them. So I'm not going to put any added pressure. It's no different than Larry Fitzgerald. I never say anything. I knew Larry was going to be great. He's the closest thing in embodiment of a football player to Chris Carter there was ever. Like, we could be identical twins. When I watch him, I see myself on video. But I wouldn't put any additional pressure, even though I knew this and I started working with him from the age of 14. That's why Denny Green drafted him, because we knew him. He drafted him number 4, number 5 in Arizona. But you don't put any added pressure, even though you know the kid has the gift. Let the kid do it.
But can I defend the dad here, though? The biggest problem we have with the AAU circuit, it kind of babies players. Yep. Let's say Lavar Ball's putting pressure on his son. Ain't the worst thing. They're not the worst thing. I mean, we live in a different... Your reality of growing up, from what I know as your friend, it was tough. It was hard knocks, overcome.
But that's different. I think that's different. If you want to say he worked them real hard, made them run to death, made them shoot,
so
1,000
you don't like the emotional pressure.
That's toughness. Yeah, the emotional pressure. This is pressure they don't need. This is pressure that doesn't help them.
But
How's
also, you know what this does? This helps explain what he's trying to do. That's why he mentioned Steph Curry. It wasn't that he was trying to pick on Steph Curry, because he's trying to brand. All the shoe companies, you need to know this. This kid is better than Steph, who just got the big deal. He's better than any of the other guys who have their own shoe deal. That's part of it. Can't we see that?
Listening to this conversation, my takeaway now is I think his vision for his sons is accurate. I think perhaps his vision of himself is inaccurate in terms of what he's going to be able to mastermind from the dad's chair and what we're going to do with Big Ballers brand. That may be where he really lacks some self-awareness. He may very well be right about the greatness of his son.
So the dad is going to quit his day-to-day job, and this is what he's going to do for a living.
Oh, it sounds like he's talking, and it may be an inaccurate vision of himself.
I like his ambitions. I think it's great to think, instead of going with Nike or Adidas, I want to start our own brand. I mean, that's let's see if you can do it. It's going to be based on your kid's greatness.
I've been to see the kid play twice, and I didn't think he was better than Steph Curry right now. And I'll be there Wednesday night when they play Washington.
I'm going to see.
Like you should be a GM.
Yeah, I'll be there Wednesday night.
Rob Pelinka.
Feet on the blue.
This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Remember, guys, podcast is on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud. We are everywhere. We like comments. We like questions. Yes, I don't mind the hate over the Kenyon Martin stuff yesterday. Keep bringing it, folks. The Twitter handle, @SFY. You know mine, @JasonR McIntyre. Let me finally get in one final word on Kirk Cousins, okay? The Redskins have royally screwed this up. They will have paid him about $24 million plus about 19-20 last year, so $44 million over 2 years, and they may lose him for nothing. Nothing. How badly did the Washington Redskins screw this up? Back-to-back winning seasons. That hasn't happened in almost 2 decades. And you're about to flush that down the toilet because your pride did not want to give Kirk Cousins a long-term deal. That, folks, is unbelievable. We'll see you tomorrow.